Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Young and Hungry FireCast, episode number 5. What's up, Jay?
What up, Zach? What up, man? Just saw you yesterday. It's nice to see you again. How you doing? How you living?
Dude, I'm living good, man. So yesterday was nuts. We woke up, me and my content guy, Joey, the intern I hired, we woke up about 2:30 in the morning and packed up shop and drove out to old school gym to film content all day with my homeboy Jay and Corey G. It's a fun day, long day. I ended up wrapping yesterday up about 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Was
So
that
it
like
was
20, 21 hour day, something like that?
it was like it ended up being about 22-hour day. It was good though, man. It was good. Real productive, got a lot done. And, I'm a firm believer you want to be successful. Sometimes you got to stay awake, whether it be one day, 2 days. You might stay awake 3 days in a row, whatever it takes.
Yeah, man, when the opportunity presents itself, especially with someone like Corey who wants to shoot content like that, you got to do what you got to do, right?
You got to hop on it right now. And I think that sometimes, I talked about that yesterday on the Activate Media Daily about putting yourself in the right situations, in the right positions at the right times. There's a lot to be said about a guy who can grab 20 rebounds in a game. Maybe 10 rebounds were easy, but there's something to be said about that guy always being in the right place at the right time.
Dude,
And,
so true, man. I loved that analogy when you said that yesterday. I fucking love that.
For sure. That's just like Jay, for you, whenever you put yourself at old school gym at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I was literally just about to go into that because so many people, not a ton, but there'll be people, especially around where I live, they'll talk like how I'm lucky to be where I'm at right now, and it's all because of Corey. And it's like,
Ain't no fucking luck.
Yeah, well, partially luck because of where I was born. I was born near old school gym, so always, like Gary Vee talks about, there's a little bit of luck that comes into play. But I recognized the opportunity. I knew I needed to be around someone like Corey. It's the first time I met him, and I knew something, just an aura about the dude. And so I started showing up at 5 a.m. every day. So like, the opportunities are going to present themselves. You just got to take advantage of them. So again, there is a little bit of luck, I think, in my mind that plays a role in everything. But then you got to
capitalizing, right? It's just trying to capitalize.
Exactly, man. There's always going to be opportunities. You just got to take fucking advantage of them.
And sometimes it's right there for people to grab, but they just can't even. I think they can even see them, but they just don't want to actually act on them. They say they want it, but they really don't. I didn't want to necessarily. Who wants to sleep an hour and a half? 2 hours a night, wake up, drive 3 hours, film content all day, drive home 3 hours, film content all day. And even though it's what I love to do, it still makes it a long day. But it's being have the willpower to be able to wake yourself up, get moving, keep going, putting yourself in the right situations.
Plus, your vision's so damn strong, man. Like you can see it. You know what this is gonna. You know what coming to old school and filming the content's gonna turn into. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of guys want like immediate gratification. They want reimbursed immediately or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, am I going to get paid for this? So, dude, I remember Corey was just telling me yesterday how many interns he's had who worked for free for months and months and months, but now they're reaping the benefits. So that's just it rolls over.
Exactly, man. I think that's a good rabbit hole to go into real quick. Like, if you wanna start working with a mentor or something like that, man, you gotta present a value and present your abilities without asking for anything in return. Like, for example, a couple dudes at the gym, Jake and Jacob, that are interns at Activate Media, Corey and John's media company. They've been working there for a while now, unpaid, because they see what's down the road. They have the vision. They know what that's going to turn into. So I think, like, again, come back to Gary Vee, his video dude. He started out presenting Gary Vee with a free video. He wanted to do a video for him for free, and then that turned into him having a full-time job with him, following him around, filming all the time. So I feel like you got to present yourself and show that you can give value, and then give it for free, and then it's going to come back, and you're going to reap the rewards down the road.
Dude, for sure. And I know this topic, we're a little bit out of pace here because this is a question down the road. It says, at what moment did you decide that you could change or start charging people for writing programs compared to just giving programs out for free and training people?
Mm-hmm.
I think this rolls directly into it. It's giving after so long, you keep on giving advice, people taking it. Once you realize you're at that level, you're like, okay, I have enough knowledge, enough education in the sport. Now it's a good time. I can start charging people for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same thing with the interns. They work. Okay, now they realize they're actually really good at what they're doing. Now it's time to start getting paid. And, Corey and those guys are going to know when it's time to pay those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that rolls directly.
Exactly, man. It's kind of like the social media strategy of just jab, right hook, give, and then ask. It's the same thing with offering your services for free. It's the same idea. you just continue to give and give and give, and then eventually you ask, and then you're going to get it.
So it seems like so many people in the world, Jay, they're just looking for that instant gratification. I know I talked about that for a second, but it seems like everybody just wants it right now. What about the long ball game, man? Is that I know that's how me and you are playing our life right now, and we're not looking to become a millionaire tomorrow, but
Mm-hmm.
we know, and over time that the consistency, the daily habits are going to turn us into millionaires, and who knows, from there on out.
So yeah, man. I mean, instant gratification. Everyone wants instant gratification these days. It seems like I don't know if it's always been that way, and when our parents were younger, if it was that way, but it just seems like everyone wants it right now. I don't know why exactly.
Do you think it's like the small town mindset, like you get paid every Friday, so you're like, shit, I need to be paid on Fridays, or is it not even worth having this job?
Potentially, yeah, that definitely does play into a role. I think that's how a lot of people around where I live think, and I know around where you used to live think they're just like, I need that paycheck, and then as soon as they get the paycheck, they go out and spend it all. So it kind of plays a role in it. But yeah, man, I think it comes back down to having the vision. People don't have a long term vision. So many people are just living day to day, paycheck to paycheck, with no long term plan, no long term vision. So it's hard to have, or it's hard to delay that gratification when you don't know what's down the road and what's to delay. Like, I mean, if you don't have a vision, then there's no point. You just might as well get it right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you might as well just keep working that average job.
Exactly.
Jay, let's talk about yesterday, dude. Yesterday was a freaking awesome day.
Yeah, I want to jump into that too.
Lunch and Learn went really well. Jay's the host and I don't know how you guys work that, host or co-host.
Yeah, we kind of
Learn.
co-host. I don't know. We kind of let it fly every time. It's a little different every time.
So
Yeah, which is up right now on YouTube, by the way. You guys want to check it out?
oh,
Core G
I'm going to
Fitness
check
is
that out right now.
YouTube.
Dude, so Jay, they threw me on the outside. We were doing the track, and they threw me on the outside. So I had to go further. If you guys see me,
Yeah, you did go further, didn't you?
Y'all see me taking a few extra steps. That's the reason why. I might have walked a little bit in between. A little bit about lunges. Here's a quick tip for you guys. After my deadlift days and squat days, the day following. So I deadlift on Tuesdays and I squat on Saturdays. So on Wednesdays and Sundays, I've been lunging between 0.2 and 0.5 miles. Is really opening my hips up, opening hip flexors up, make me feel really good. So I've been prepping a little bit for the Lunge and Learn show, but man, these guys are fast.
We always forget, man. Like, we'll start out like at a really high pace, and we forget that not everyone lunges all the time, and we got to kind of dial it back. Cause I mean, it's kind of tricky too to speak while you're lunging. So we kind of always forget that when we just get going at the beginning. And then
Jay's laughing at my face. I'm like, no shit,
try
man.
to dial it back. Try to dial it back a little bit. No, you did good, man. I've seen some people really struggle. But yeah, lunges have been a game changer for me. Just diving into that rabbit hole. Lunges, I think it's been probably 2 years now, a year and a half since I've been doing them consistently. My legs have gotten so much larger, so much more toned. The cuts are so much deeper between the muscles, and also, like you said, man, it's literally the perfect way to get your metabolism rolling and lean out. Fuck running. Who wants to go run? You know what I mean?
Dude, for real. My
I don't
legs are
run at all.
definitely getting shredded. Dude, I'm fuck
that.
running.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to box, so I used to run back in the day. My legs are definitely getting shreds from it, though, man. I've been doing them, like I said, twice a week. I upped it a little bit more, since we're prepping in this photo shoot. So I've been doing 4 or 5 times a week, 0.5 miles. And I'm definitely noticing my cuts get a lot deeper. I'm getting striations, shreds clear up into my hips. So yeah. It's pretty cool to see.
And exactly, man. People ask all the time, like, how can I get my metabolism going? How can I lean out? And it's like, start lunging. I mean, but obviously diet's going to play a huge role. But lunges are so goddamn key. They are the game changer of game changers.
Dude, the lunge is the real deal. Is that something that you and Corey kind of came up with, or did you guys like find that off somebody?
He came up. I don't know how long it's been since he's been lunging. It was way before I started lunging though, because I didn't start really lunging honestly until it was probably about a year and a half ago. I started lunging for my first shoot prep last June. I started prepping a few months before that, so it's probably been about a year and a half now. And I was before that I was kind of pretty inconsistent. I would lunge a few days here, a few days there, but I didn't get really serious with it until about a year and a half ago. And ever since, I've been pretty dialed in on it, at least a few times a week. I'll go, when I'm getting ready for my preps, I'll go 5, 6, 7 times a week. But right now, it's like 3, 4 times a week just to get the hips open, just to keep the metabolism rolling.
What's your distance, if you're doing 5 days a week? And are you getting recovering fast enough for the next lunge day?
Yeah, that's tricky. Usually when I'm really dialed in, I'm trying to get, when I'm 3, 4 weeks out from the shoot or something like that, I'll be going 600 to 800 meters usually, sometimes 400. As of right now, I've just been going 400 meters pretty much every day for the last 4 weeks, just a high pace. And a lot of people like doing 800 meters plus, and I really don't see the benefit, because I think I burn more
Dude, my fucking
calories.
legs go numb. My legs go numb after that.
Exactly, and I think I burn more calories honestly at a higher pace when I'm going 4 to 800 meters or 4 to 600 meters, just because you can go way faster and way more intense. And
Dude, that's something out. Yeah,
yeah, when I get done,
that's
I mean, I've done a mile before, and I've been in more pain and felt more blown up from doing a 400 meter at the fastest I could do it than a mile at a slow pace.
yeah, that's something I'm definitely picking up on lunges. So when you're doing a lunge, like a walking lunge, you're not supposed to put your foot down. Like, so say you stretch out with your left foot. Then you come to stand up and you put your right foot down right beside your left foot,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like giving your muscle a break. To
It
where if you
is.
just step directly into the next all the way out, that's how keep
Yeah,
that
that's when it gets
tension on the
real,
muscle.
bro.
That's when you can go fast and the burn
Well, you're
stays
keeping the
like
constant tension
crazy.
too, just like if you were hitting shoulders and you instead of locking out at the top, you're keeping the constant tension. It's the same thing. You're
Yeah,
keeping
three-fourths
constant
the
tension,
way
pretty
up.
much similar ideal.
For sure, dude. It fucking burns, man. So yesterday was cool, dude. We
Yeah,
drove in, we shot content all day, went out and had lunch. It was just really good to get around. I had my content guy Joey with me, and he's a young kid too, but he's never been around, so many guys like us who have that greater vision. And we're on the way home. He's like, dude, just thanks for bringing me along in this. Like, that's what we talk about. You're only as good as the 3 to 5 people you surround yourself with. And everyone we were with yesterday has a greater goal. Jake was with us. Jake wants to, he's playing college football and he's doing an internship. The dude's just killing,
offering
so
free
he's,
work by the way by doing the camera work yesterday. Back to that.
yeah, operating free. Yeah, all day he was with us yesterday, just,
Mm-hmm.
learning and soaking it in and helping out and putting himself in the right position, put himself in the right situation at the right times. He's going to reap the benefits as the years go on. Obviously Corey, you, myself, it was a
Dude, such
freaking
a
awesome
brainstorm
day.
session. Like it's just like nonstop, just like ideas flying from this way and that way about branding, social media. You guys were talking a lot about the supplement company and just so many crazy. And when you get around people, like-minded people, especially, your game is immediately elevated, and thoughts just start rushing through your head and this and that. And I think that's why it's so important to surround yourself with like-minded people that have similar visions, similar goals. I mean, I don't really get to be around people like you and Corey all the time. I mean, there's not very many people like that around where I live, a small town and so forth. And I have friends that don't really have any aspirations, and not to beat up on them, but I mean, it's rare to find people like that. So when we all get together, man, it's like it's a
Oh, it's
game
freaking awesome.
changer.
So, dude, how hard is it, Jay, to communicate? I know when I went back home, not knocking, on anybody,
Mm-hmm.
but I just have a different vision, different goals. So when I go back home, I have a really hard time even conversating with anybody because whenever I'm talking, I'm either talking business, I'm talking progression,
Mm-hmm.
goals. That's all I want to talk about. They're willing to talk about maybe mud bogging or like drinking beer on the
Yeah.
weekends, and I was like, that's just not where I'm at right now in my life. So it's very hard for me to have conversation.
Dude, it's so difficult to connect with people, man. Like on that level, it's almost impossible. Like I have very I don't really hang out with a ton of people, man. I have a small circle, and I have a few friends, like I said, that don't really have huge aspirations, which is cool if they're happy. Like Gary Vee talks about, man. If you're happy, then cool. But if you're complaining, then you need to change things. But yeah, it's honestly it's so damn hard to connect with people. So when I find like-minded people, man, I really stick with it and stick with them and try to get around them as much as possible. And for the most part, though, it's difficult in a small town, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners, it seems like a lot of people that follow us are from small towns, and they can relate to that. So I think the internet, though, man, it allows you to really connect with people that are like-minded. Maybe you don't get to meet with them in person, but you can Skype with them, FaceTime with them, and text back and forth and stuff, which is cool. The internet's really opened that up for people, but yeah, really,
Dude,
really
I think, yeah,
difficult.
the internet's definitely made a lot more people rich because whenever like-minded people get together, they can make money, they can make things happen.
Like we said
Compared to
yesterday,
your,
man, it's just a straight brainstorm session, like just
dude,
fireworks.
dude, for real, we needed a camera rolling yesterday at lunch. It was like a
For
2 hour
real, it's just like
lunch.
a podcast. And you, for example, man, when you're in the gym talking about this dude's level of knowledge on training and so forth is ridiculous. Like without even the camera rolling, it's like a straight podcast, just content oozing out of his mouth. It's absolutely insane. Like I was so motivated after yesterday to start reading more about fitness and just delving into just the technical stuff, man. Like just listening to you is so motivating because you've spent so much time just get basically just reading so much and just studying how the body works and leverage points and so forth.
I appreciate that, Jay. I do. It's just cool to see, and as time goes on, whenever people are asking me, in high school, when I got out of high school, like, why the fuck you squatting for 8 hours? It's good to see it's coming back. I'm reaping the benefits, 10 years, 7 years down the road of doing, maybe training 8 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday. Even now, I might even work out for 6 hours just bench pressing, learning my leverages, and for people to actually see, that amount of effort and time I put in to helping make people better. It's really cool. It's real cool. It's really humbling too. It's awesome.
And like you said yesterday, man, this was really eye opening. Like, what'd you start benching? What were you benching when you first started?
The bar and 2.5 Sunday side, 50 pounds.
Exactly. Yeah, so you didn't start out a crazy strong dude. You just put so much time and effort and work into studying the leverage points and just how to utilize everything that you have. So for a
Dude,
lot of people out
absolutely.
there, I think that's huge.
It drives me nuts. People are like, oh, dude, you must have just been board strong. I'm like, fuck, I was the weakest dude. Literally, the freshman year, I weighed like 80 pounds. I was like 90 pounds. I was skin and bones. I was the weakest kid on the freshman football team. I was like, I was not born strong. This is all literally sheer willpower,
That's
hard
crazy.
work.
Like before I had known you, man, I would have never assumed that. I think that's key for people listening. I think that's huge and very eye opening and inspiring for people to continue to basically pursue what they want to do. From my standpoint, just from like a physique standpoint, I never grew up with muscles. I was always flat, skinny, fat kid. You could say more so skinny, and again, I had no muscle, was never strong, but I just continued to put the work in. The first like 2 years of working out, people would ask, my friends would be like, why you putting all this time in the gym? You can't even tell you're working out. I just kept with it, kept at it, and now I'm starting to begin to see some of the results as my body starts to get a little bit more man muscles, you could say, and mature a little bit from a muscular standpoint. I'm starting to really reap the last 6 years of not missing hardly any days.
Dude, let's talk about that for a second. Your peers trying to beat you down. So that even happens to me now, like at 24 years old, and people still try to beat me down. So anyone listening, if they're in high school or just kind of high school, and you have people telling you, you have to go to college or you have to do this or why are you training? You're not getting no bigger. You guys got to stay mentally sound. You got to stay mentally tough. The world is fucking tough. It's going to try to knock you down. As soon as someone sees you're trying to progress or you're just doing more overall work in life than they are, they're going to try to knock you down to their level. If someone's talking shit or hating on you, it legit comes down to they are beneath you. They are below you. Another thing I want to talk about, I talked about this on my Snapchat rant the other day. I got all fucking fired up. I'm trying not to get too
How's
fired
that
up on
on
the
Snapchat?
podcast.
Dude drops fire.
So I hear it from myself. People are like, you changed. You're different. Good motherfucker. I want to change. I don't want to be the same guy I was in high school, the same guy I was in the coal mine. I want to progress. As soon as you start to do some self-development, learn more, have a higher vocabulary, as soon as you start actually progressing in life, people are like, you've changed, you talk different, you act different. You want me to be the same I was in high school? I can't help that you want to be the same way. I don't. I want to progress. So change is good. Don't let the haters keep talking shit. It's almost sad because it's like even people I thought were really good friends are talking shit and hating. That's why I just really distanced myself. And just because you knew someone for 10 years doesn't make, I met Jay less than 2 years ago, a year ago. We became really good friends, and I consider him a better friend than 90% of people I grew up with. So just because you've known someone for 10 years, 20 years, whatever, doesn't mean they have to be your best friend forever. If you guys have separate goals and different goals, you can't let that person keep pulling you back. You got to just move on, distance yourself from them, turn them into an acquaintance. It sounds kind of bad, but when you're sitting on your deathbed, you're going to be like, oh shit, Eddie over there, because he was always dragging me down, I never was able to reach my full potential. Fuck Eddie. Dude, leave Eddie behind. It's time to keep moving.
Yeah, and that comes back down to like the whole having a hard time connecting with people, man. Like a lot of the listeners, like as you continue to progress and come up with bigger and bigger goals and larger aspirations, you're gonna find that it's harder to connect. If you're in high school, harder to connect with your friends, and everyone wants to go out and party, and you want to go to the gym or you want to stay home and read a book or improve some sort of skill. You're gonna find that it's hard to find like-minded friends and so forth, and you're gonna come kind of disconnected with people, which is kind of what I found and I struggle with today. That's really one of the main reasons why I want to get out to California. I think there's a lot of like-minded people on the West Coast. To my,
it's more hip. It's definitely more hip, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of hipsters. I'm definitely a hipster. But just like up in Northern California, man, the San Fran area, there's just a lot of people with really big aspirations, really big goals. They want to do big things. I just want to surround myself with people like that, and obviously come back and forth and still hit Old School Gym, hit Iron Valley. But I really
you gotta hit Iron Valley.
Yeah, I really want to get out there and surround myself with more and more people, and with an online business, which comes back to reverse engineering your life with that North Star. That'll allow me to go out to California, live out there, come back to Ohio, spend 3 months here maybe, train, kick it with Corey, kick it with Zach, and then do whatever I want. So that comes that's a whole nother rabbit hole, reverse engineering your life with that North Star. But
So what's your I know we talked about this. I know a couple people asked questions too, like an online business. What are you exactly saying when you mean, an online business? Is it going to be your training or is it going to be something else? What is that's going to allow you all this freedom?
yeah, well, I have all kinds of ideas, man, for down the road and so forth.
I'm
I mean,
sorry, I figured.
all kinds of different ideas are always pouring into my head. As of right now, though, thinking like short term, I want to continue to build my one-on-one training. I want to get my Carb Life apparel going, coming soon. I think that's going to be really cool, and I think that can. I think that's a really high ceiling, the whole apparel game, and especially if you have the right stuff going. So as of right now, building the apparel line, the one-on-one training, but down the road, though, more so having a website like Corey's where it's subscription based, I can help a larger volume of people. Whereas right now with the one-on-one, I can only work with so many people. With the large-scale subscription-based website, you can help way more people. Obviously, it's less personalized, but you can just get way more width and you know what I mean. So
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
down the road, something like that. Obviously, continuing to build the apparel line, and who knows what could come down the road. Maybe start a media company like Gary Vee and Corey have. I love social media. There's so many different things that I could do. But my biggest thing is I want it to all be online or stuff that I don't actually have to be there day to day to manage. Also, real estate. I want to get more into rental properties down the road because it's such a great form of passive income. You buy a bunch of rental properties at the right price, they're going to all be profiting a couple $100 a month. That starts to add up. You got 10, 15, 100 rental properties. It really starts to add up. So that's all pretty much passive income that allows you. My biggest thing, I've talked about this before, is being able to, I don't want to be tied down. I want to be able to travel the world 12 months out of the year if I want to. So the online business, the rentals, all comes back to allowing me to be wherever I want and still make the same amount of money, essentially. But yeah, man, I have a lot of goals and a lot of aspirations with all this stuff. It's kind of hard to
Yeah, dude. Touching on
put it
the
all in words.
one-on-one online training. So I've been doing that for little while now. That's actually how I made the transition. Going back to that question we got. Who was that from? That question.
Matthews.
Glock Matthews says, we talked about this already. At one moment, did you decide you should start charging people for programming? So a little bit of marketing 101 here. I've put all my workouts on Snapchat for a couple years. Like, I was really ahead of the Snapchat game. I've been hyped up on Snapchat since people were just
Yeah, you're way ahead of the game, bro.
Yeah, I was ahead of it. So I've been putting workouts on there, and I was getting 50, 60. It's kept on adding it up. Now I'm getting a couple hundred people, maybe 200-300 people screenshotting the workouts every day. And I'm smart enough to realize, like, okay, if there's 300 people doing it, let me take 10% of that, and that could probably be my online training clientele. Because not everybody's going to pay. I don't expect everybody to pay.
Of course.
And it ended up being that and then some, and that's how I actually decided, like, hey, if this many people are actually screenshotting my workouts every single day and they're doing what I'm doing, it's probably about time for me to start charging. I must know my shit enough. And I was already confident in it. And I've been training at that time 9-10 years. So it was time to go ahead. I built up the knowledge base and I built up the clientele prior to even actually charging on a program. So, but right now I'm in that transition from an online subscription site to a one-on-one. I built my online training up to over 75 people. It's a little bit down right now. Summertime, obviously, it fluctuates up and down. And anything in entrepreneurship is going to be highs and lows, So
right.
That's something we talk about. Still doing very well. I probably still send out about 50 programs a month. I have different rates in my packages, but I'm to the point right now where it's just about time where I have to switch over to a subscription site to handle a lot more people. And I'm also realizing a lot of people just can't afford my prices. Not that I feel like they're even that expensive, but to a kid in high school, $170 a month could, $130
Yeah, man.
a
Like,
month.
yeah, exactly. That's another benefit of the subscription. You can really help a lot more people. Like we said, you can do a lot more volume because it's way cheaper and affordable. They're still getting a huge benefit of it. It's not as personalized and so forth, but way more benefit to a lot of people.
Yeah, and especially, when the overall goal, my overall goal, my overall passion is to enhance the world.
Mm-hmm.
So enhancing the world, if I can do it at $9 a month compared to 170, that's really cool, So that's kind of why I'm switching over into that realm of things. I'm pretty excited for the subscription site. I'll be able to really connect with a whole lot more people and really get to display, my knowledge and my talents on the subscription site. And I think it's going to help just a ton of people. Just the smallest tips people are neglecting, like a few things you and I worked on yesterday. Like, holy shit, this is going to make my deadlift go up 40 pounds, like.
Oh, without a
overnight.
doubt.
So,
Yeah, without a doubt. You guys definitely need to check out the site once it's launched. I mean, this dude, the level of knowledge, when I'm with him, I feel like I'm a peon for a lot of different things. Like, man, I got so much to learn, which I love. I need that, man. Like, iron sharpens iron. You got to be around people like that. But to touch on the one-on-one stuff, to answer Glock Matthews question real quick. At what moment in your life did you decide you could charge? For me, it was honestly very recently. I put in the last 5-6 years every day in the gym, learning, being around Corey and other people like that, and putting the time in. And it wasn't until recently when Zach really opened me up to it that I honestly didn't even know that it was even hardly a thing. I never really even thought about it. And Zach was talking about what he was doing each month and how many people he was working with, and it really opened my eyes up. And we got on the phone one day, and I was like, "Man, I really want to get into this. I got the knowledge base. I think I've been putting the time in. I think I'm ready." And I was like, "How do I start getting stuff ready so I can launch this in a month or so?" And Zach's like, "Fuck that. Make a post tonight on Instagram and let everybody know you're gonna start doing one-on-one training, and give them your email, see what happens." And right away, I started getting clients like within a day or two, and I just couldn't even believe it. And it's to the point now where I've worked with probably 30 plus people. Right now, I'd say I probably have almost 15 people active at this moment. Obviously, people come and go, and it just continues to build and build. And I still just can hardly believe it. And it all came down to Zach pushing me to make that post, and then it just snowballed from there. But Zach and I want to touch on this because there's so many people that are so new to training, maybe even the last 6 months to a year, they really got into it hardcore, and they're already like, they're asking questions like, how do I start doing online training? How do I start building this? And it's like, you got to put the time in first.
Train, brother. Though.
Yeah.
I didn't train fucking 11 years. That's why I'm just so anti certifications. And okay, if you can do something online, an open book test, and you're certified, don't come in my gym telling me you're a fucking trainer. Because I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna make you look like an idiot in front of everybody. Don't come.
You damn straight you will.
I'm gonna go approaching freaking Gary V like I know, and I'm an entrepreneur. Like I've been in the game 20 years. So it's
there's
like
levels to this shit.
Yeah, know your place, know your role, kind of thing, and gather the knowledge. And if you want to get certified, do it. Like that's good. It's good to have certifications. I'm never gonna knock that, but I do believe you need to put in the time. At the end of the day, it just comes down to like people are paying for your service. So if you're not willing to provide something good, you're a thief. You're a drug dealer, if you ask me. You're not even a real trainer. A real trainer is going to pull the most out of their clients through good programming, good motivation. I see some trainers, they couldn't fucking motivate me to take a shit. Get the hell out of here. I mean? A real good trainer, he can motivate you to do anything, just giving you that fire in your ass, no matter what it is, So that's
definitely. I have something I want to dive into real quick. I made an Instagram post this morning. One of my favorite quotes from Gary V, and it is, "If you live for the weekends and vacation, your shit is broken." And dude, I'm a little fired up because someone commented and said this isn't true at all. Clearly, he's a little bit oblivious. I mean, how is that not true?
Let's call him out. Let's call him out on the FireCast, bro.
Let's see who
Come
he
on,
is.
dude.
All right,
Let's see who
he is. Ryan Tuttle. Ryan Tuttle, he looks like he's in college.
You're getting called out. I hope you ain't listening, Ryan. You're going to be butthurt after this.
Yeah, like how the fuck can you live your life whereas it's like 6 days a week? If you live for the weekends and vacations, basically that means that 6 days a week you're fucking miserable. You're hating your job Monday through Friday. Friday you get hyped for the weekend, so you enjoy Saturday. But then as soon as Sunday comes, it's like, fuck, I got to go back to work on Monday. So you don't enjoy Sunday at all. So essentially you're enjoying 1.5 days a week. How the fuck is that not... How does that not basically equate to your shit being broken? You know what I mean? How?
Dude, so
tell me how.
8 hours a night times 365 is 2,920. I just did the math on my calculator. Check it out, right? That's how many hours you sleep a year already. So if you're spending 8 hours at work a day, times that by 2, and you hate your job, that's 5,800 hours. You're spending miserable in your life. And you're living for that 48 hours on the weekend? You mean to tell me I have all this time and you're living for just 48 hours? You guys, I've worked a dead-end job. I'm not going to say a dead end because it was a good job, but it was a dead end. Like you can only make $32 an hour or whatever it was. And that was the pinnacle of it. And as soon as I reach my pinnacle, I know I got to change. Like I can't just live just for this. Obviously the money was involved and it just wasn't enough for me. But it's just I couldn't go to work every single day, 1 hour commute there, 1 hour commute back. And I was looking forward to – I had a Tuesday off. I remember I had Tuesday off for 6 months. And I'm looking forward to a Tuesday off. I'm like, Zach, you got to change your shit, bro.
Yeah, your shit's broken.
The highlight of my day, you can say yourself – you can lie to yourself. It's not that bad because that's what I would say to myself. I would say, Zach, that's not that bad, bro. You're good. You're tough. I'm all about being fucking tough. So I'm like, you're good. You're tough. You're tough. You'll be all right. You'll weather through the storm. Well, fuck, bro. The storm lasts 3 years. It's time to change. This ain't a storm. This is a fucking hurricane. I need to get out of it. It's time to take shelter, regroup, and decide on where I'm going to go with my life. And dude, I wake up every single day. Like guys ask, how do you sleep 3 hours a night? If you all follow me on Snapchat, I go to bed at 11:30. I wake up at 3:30. Like I'm just awake 4 hours, whatever it is a night. Like literally like 6 or 7 days, almost every day during the week, I'm only sleeping 3 or 4 hours. I can't stay asleep. I'm too hyped. I can't fall asleep because I'm too hyped up, answering people's questions, motivating, enhancing the world. By the way, let me take a side note real quick. A guy came in the gym the other day and gave me a $1 bill. He said, I remember you said on a podcast that your goal was to just give enough value and 7 billion people in the world. And it was the first time someone's actually gave me a $1 bill. And I thought it was just like the coolest thing. I was like, dude, that's so cool.
That's amazing.
Dude,
just to follow up,
so cool.
Follow up on this, on the whole weekend and vacation thing. This argument isn't saying that you need to be an entrepreneur or you need to start businesses. Like, you can be an employee as long as you enjoy your job and you're doing what you love. This isn't the argument that you need to start something, because not everyone's an employee or not everyone's an entrepreneur. Some people are just made to be employees, and that's what they want to do. They want to have a set schedule and have that steady paycheck coming in. As long as you enjoy what you're doing, then you're cool. But if you're working a job, or even if you own a business, you could be an entrepreneur and still hate your life. You know what I mean? So it doesn't come down to one or the
absolutely.
other.
And being an entrepreneur is just a cool word. People like to use it. And I talk about it on my Snapchat. I'm really, 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 really real about shit. Like, you'll see me when I'm tired on my Snapchat. Like, this shit ain't always cracked up to be. You know what I mean? Working 20 hours a day ain't always cracked up to be. And I highlighted, how I'm excited about it. But I get run down like everybody else. I am human, believe it or not. I try to act like I'm not. I try to portray myself like, go about my day-to-day business like I'm immortal. I'm like, I'm not going to die, but I am human. I get tired. This shit is hard. Does it get overwhelming? I know that was a question. Yes, it gets overwhelming. All you got to do is sit down, though, this is what I do, write my to-do list, and I fucking bang out my goals. I take it like mad. Like, I want to fight my goals. Like, that's the mindset.
To-do lists are huge, man. For me, at least.
Dude, that's why you got to get, I get overwhelmed. Sometimes I walk in and my to-do list is fucking 3 days long. I got to get done in 8 hours. I have 8 hours before I got to go spend family time. I get mad. I'm like, let's fucking go to work. Like, it's all or nothing. I'm balls in. I'm fucking all in on it. I'm crushing my goals. So definitely, but falling back on, you can maybe work as a construction worker or steel worker and love your job. I know some guys who love running cranes. They love running.
As long as you love it.
Good for you. Dude, you found your passion.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually love doing it and you're working all that overtime and shit because you actually love it, then good for you, man. Definitely. But if you're living like you hate your job all week, 4, 5, 6 days a week, and then you're only living for that 2 days off, 1, 2, or 3 days off you're getting a week, then you need to change. Your shit is broke, and you're just going to go through your whole entire life, basically miserable, not being, living your life to the fullest. And I've been on both sides, guys. I can really, really, really relate to this. Whoever the kid was who said that wasn't true. But, bro, I can relate to you. Like, I can honestly say, sitting here, that I thought I was okay. I thought it was okay to live for that weekend and to hang out with my buddies and whatever I did on the weekend. But I'm telling you, man, my happiness now is times 1,000.
Yeah, and it's okay to enjoy the weekends too. Like, if you have on Saturday night, maybe you have a few hours where whatever, and it's okay to enjoy the vacations too. But if at the end of the vacation you're like, fuck, I gotta go back to my job, that's when your shit's broken. It's okay to enjoy time off and enjoy time with your friends and family and so forth. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that if at the end of that or halfway through you're like, shit, this is about to end and I gotta go back to my job or I gotta go back to my business.
I want to hit on that real quick about the friends and family. So I went home the past 4 days. Last week, I talked about on the last podcast, I drove straight home right after the podcast and spent time with the family. I totally disconnected. I was barely on social media for 4 days. And this is not like me. Like, everyone knows I'm always answering questions and hyping up Snapchat and stuff. And I still did a little bit, but I was probably 90% disengaged from the world. I was just totally zoned in on
from time to time, right?
Time. And it's great. But I tell you what, soon it was over. I cannot wait to get back.
You're ready to get back. That's exactly what I was trying to get at there. Exactly.
That's exactly. I knew what you meant, man, for sure. Dude, let's jump into my man Blaze Sardinelli question. I think this is like the coolest question. So, Jay, I know you've been thinking about this all morning. If you were a UFC fighter, I want to know 2 things, actually. What would your cage name be? Even though this wasn't Blaze's question, this is my question. And what would your walkout song be?
Cage name? Oh, shit, man. Maybe... I would go with Buck Nasty.
Oh.
That just popped in my mind. Literally didn't spend any time thinking of that because you just
hit me Buck Nasty.
That's the first thing that popped into my head. So I'm gonna go with that for the intro music. Shit, I don't know. I don't know if I would go with some Bob Marley like reggae type stuff.
Okay,
or I go with something to get me hype. Maybe like that Panda song, bro. That shit gets me hype. Or some just crazy
those are
metal.
Cars.
I don't know exactly. I can't pinpoint a song. but it
That's
would be on one
fucking
end of the
great.
spectrum or the other. What about you?
Yes. Dude, I don't even know. Like, probably something super corny for my name, like Zach Attack or
Back
something.
attack.
I was actually an amateur boxer, for those who don't know. I amateur boxed for 5 years. Had a bunch of amateur fights, 30-some fights. Did pretty good. I only lost a few fights, but it was more for just, like, the competitiveness. I like to compete. I didn't like sports with, multiple people, football, baseball, basketball. I
Out
still
of
play a little bit of
control,
baseball,
kind of.
but yeah, it's kind of like something where it's like if I let my guard down, I got knocked out. That's cool. I like that. I like that pressure. So, anyways, but never know walkout songs in amateurs really. So, but if I was a UFC fighter, I'd have to really think about my name. I really don't know. Maybe
I
just
would
like
too. I
Zach
wouldn't go
Attack.
with Buck Nash. I'd have to spend some time.
Someone called me like Heavy Hands or something, Zach Heavy Hands, and I was like, well, I'm no Roberto Duran or Stones. And my walkout song would definitely be "End of the Road" by MGK. I think a lot of people follow me know I love that song. The lyrics is kind of like I could never fit in. I like a bad shoe. I could never fit in. Kind of how it starts. So take my face or take my name. Remember this face. It's a super hype song. Really, I can relate to it really well. Even though I would like fit in school and quote unquote popular, I guess. Friends. I was friends with everybody, like the rednecks, the gangsters,
Yeah, same.
the guys, the girls. It didn't matter. I was just friends with everybody. But I was never really. I had like a few guys, like two or three, that was actually like my true friends. What I thought, right? So, and time changes everything. But in I was just never really like everybody else. I knew I was just different. Like going to school every day, and the teachers are telling me, well, you got to take two foreign language or a foreign language 2 years to go to college. I knew, and I was a sophomore. I'm like, I'm fucking not going to college. Like, and everyone asked me, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to WVU or I'm going to wherever I said at the time. Probably I said WVU because I just wanted to party, right? So I didn't know what to really say, like, yeah. So I took the foreign languages. I failed it twice, kind of like similar to Gary Vee, but I just knew that wasn't what I wanted.
Knew you were different.
I was different than everybody, man. So that's why I relate that song really well.
Interesting. All right, let's see what we got here. From Kyle. Kyle trains at Old School Gym. He asked, since you and Jay are partners, explain how you knew that y'all should partner together and ways you knew he was the right fit.
So we talked a little bit about this. I figured we probably should partner together because I didn't really know Jay as well as I knew Corey, but I knew Corey spoke very highly of Jay, so did Dustin, and I had a little bit better relationship with them at the time. And I was like, yo, if Jay's like really what they say, let me get around him a little bit more. The more Jay and I started interacting, getting around each other at different meets and different things, I'm like, dude, this kid's the real deal. Like, he's a hustler, he's a grinder. And I seen a lot of myself in Jay, and even though we're going on different, like, total. And I mean, a little bit of fitness, but he's doing like real estate. The routes are still very different, and the backgrounds are different. But we're able to mesh together really well. I think we jive together real well. We both have a greater goal, and it's just about putting yourself, beside people who are hungry like you. And he's young, I'm young, we're hungry. This is the FireCast. It just works.
For sure. It comes back down to the like-minded thing, man. Like, when you get around someone that's like-minded and you start conversating and such, you can just tell. You know what I mean? And when we started talking, you could just tell there's something there. And
we planned it, we planned it for a while too, right?
Of course we did. We talked about it for a while, and then we finally just delved into it, and now here we are. We haven't missed a day. We haven't missed a Friday in the last, this is episode 5, so 5 weeks. And yeah, I think it just, at first, man, I didn't really know you either. Corey always spoke about you, and Dustin. I saw you on Instagram lifting stupid fucking weights. And I was like, man, I want to learn from this dude and see what he's doing, see how he got so strong and so forth. And I think it just comes down to the whole like-minded thing. When you get around like-minded people, especially when I get around like-minded people, I try to surround myself with them and stick with them, because it's rare to find somebody like that, and so forth. And Zach and I, like he said, man, we haven't been friends or close for for all that long, so we're still really feeling each other out. Like on this podcast, for example, you got to get a feel for someone. We're still getting that feel for each other, and then we're going to start doing video content. It's all about getting the feel and just practicing and so forth. So we're still working on that, but we're definitely like-minded. It's coming.
That's why we're only getting better too. Me and Jay, literally, we've had, obviously lots of conversation stuff, but it's not like we have like a long history, a long background. So I mean, in 2 years, y'all get gonna be able to beat us off the number one.
It's gonna be straight fire. Absolutely,
the FireCast will be real. So it's definitely putting yourself around like-minded people. I'm not going to give nobody a free ride. My interns, I don't give them no fucking free rides. Like yesterday, my intern worked 20 hours.
Yeah, shout out to Joey though.
Dude, shout out to Joey for just being a grinder, dude. Like
Yeah,
he
that
was
was
just in that. He took it. He handled it well. He did, being around, you and Corey and myself. He did just freaking phenomenal. He's just a good kid. But no free ride. So I had a couple people who's been wanting to do podcasts with me. Like, dude, I really want to go on a podcast with you. I think it'd be cool. And I'm just like, nah. Like I'm real blunt too. Like, nah. Like right to their face. Like I just don't beat around the bush. I'm like, nah, that's probably not a good idea. And they're like, oh, you're like, then I'm a dickhead. So what do you mean do? Just beat around the bush and be like, oh
You just gotta
no.
close the window. You gotta just tell them what's up. Or if you leave
Slam
the
the
window
door, like,
open,
bro,
yeah.
you're not my fit. You're not right. So Jay was right. We jive together real good, like-minded. A lot of people want to do podcasts with me. They're like, they wanted to be, they're cool with their job they were working at. I know Jay, he wasn't cool in his position and I wasn't cool in my situation. So like, we want to get better. And it's like, oh, okay, this is the right fit for me.
All right, let's see.
Was
what
that
else
Kyle from yesterday?
Yes, that's Kyle. You were working on his low bar.
Yeah, Kyle's doing good, man. It's so funny where people are like talking about seeking mentorship. This is really cool, Kyle. Like, so Kyle's around all of us guys this day. We're filming a bunch of content. He come up, hey man, keep working my squat. Yeah, give me a minute. He was persistent. He's like, yo, work on my squat. And Fly's like, Zach, yo, can we work on
That's a lesson right there. Persistence.
So it is. He was persistent. He kept on knocking on the door until I fucking let him in, and it's cool. It's cool working with him. Shout out to you, Kyle.
And he surrounded himself with like-minded people. He thinks he want to do something in fitness and so forth, and he surrounded himself with the right people, showing up almost every day. He's getting there. He is still 16 though. When I was 16, I know I wasn't showing up at the gym every single day at 5 a.m. It took me a little bit. So shout out to Kyle. All right, let's see. Granty Boy. Is that somebody on your Twitter, Instagram?
I think it was Instagram.
All right, let's see what he's got. He said, I've heard people go back and forth on rest days, and I'm with you. I never take rest days. What is your number one motivation to get your ass to the gym every single fucking day?
I'm hungry. Yeah, Jay, I'm hungry, bro. What do you mean? I'm fucking hungry. I want to get better. And it all comes down to I want to keep on acquiring as much knowledge as I possibly can and keep passing on to you guys through the podcast, through training, through the subscription site. I want to become, the modern day Louis Simmons, I guess you could say. But overall total fitness. I want to be like Louis Simmons, Eric Thomas, and Gary Vee
all
in
mixed
one
together.
Body. In one body. That's what I want to be. So that's what drives me. That's my motivation. And it all comes from the gym. Without the gym, guys, I'm nobody. Like I told Corey that yesterday. Corey gave me the opportunity. He helped grow Zach Homol by giving me the opportunity to come out here and work for Muscle Farm at the time. So I've had a lot of people pave the way and help me out. But at the end of the day, guys, the gym is what made Zach Homol. So, I mean, I owe the gym everything. I owe it every bump and bruise and ache and pain I deal with. I owe it every drop of sweat. I fucking was crying, not meaning to, but I'm flipping a tire, 685-pound tire, like 300 yards, like crazy the other day, right? And I'm literally, there's just tears coming out of my eyes. Like I'm just so in much pain, but I owe it. I owe the gym everything in my life. So it's easy for me to get motivated to go to the gym, man. It's fucking my North Star, and I'm always all over it.
Boom. North Star, man. North Star is so key. We've talked about it so many times. Like, having that long-term vision and know what you want. And for me, I want the legacy. I want to be known as one of the top people in the fitness industry, one of the best physiques, one of the top people with the most knowledge and so forth. And why I want that is so I can pass it on to you guys. And again, it comes back down to legacy. Legacy is so important. I obviously want money too. I want to be rich as fuck, but I want that legacy.
Right. So we both have a very similar goal. We talk about being rich, and someone's like, well, someone at the gym actually was talking about the podcast. Hey man, I really like the podcast. Why don't you and Jay elaborate a little bit on how you guys plan on getting, making the money? You talk about it, but how you're going to do it. And I feel like we kind of do, but let's just hit on a little bit more. Mine's through just enhancing people's lives. Like when I say I really want to be able to provide value to 7 billion people in the world for them to just give me $1. I know it might sound like a far-fetched goal, but so did squatting 700 at 180. So it's just like, I've always set my goals extremely high, and that's just what I set myself for. Okay, so I only impact 5 billion. I only have 5 billion. That's the way I look at it. So that is definitely like how I plan on making my money, by providing good value to you guys through podcasts, through YouTube channels, through content, through motivation. That's how I want to make my money, by helping the world. I don't want to make it by doing anything else besides enhancing your life. That's how I want to make my money.
That's branding 101, dude. I mean, like, if you want to build a brand, you gotta figure out a way to help people. Like, how can people benefit from your content? If you're trying to create content, just try to think of how you can benefit people and so forth. So I think that's so key. It's going to come back tenfold. Like, you're going to make the money down the road if you're putting out useful content that people are going to benefit from and really like, and so forth. Continue to do that consistently. The money's going to come.
It's
You know what I
sales,
mean?
sales 101, dude. It's
Yeah.
like, if we're talking about supplements, if you have a shit product and it's not going to help me, why would I take it? Now, if you give me a good product and it helps me and it helps my lifts get better, I'm going to keep rebuying. You're providing good value to me.
Yeah.
And that's, I think we're doing it through words and through actions. I should say actions than words, because we do talk on the podcast, but we follow it up straight up with actions.
Yep. Yep.
Without my actions, I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys right now. If I squatted 315, no one would give a fuck what I said. That's the
Love it.
honest to God truth, right? If I didn't bench 465 or bench 315 for 25 reps, no one would give a shit about Zach Hummel. I know that. I know my actions is what made me.
Exactly. Doing this podcast too, like we talked about, this shit motivates us to stay accountable and continue to push harder and harder. So we got shit to talk about. So it
Dude,
comes
right? That's
tenfold
like,
on that too.
dude, I'm just always trying to better my vocabulary, trying to better myself every single day. Even like me and Jay were talking the other day, that we got on the phone. We talk quite a few times throughout the week now, just brainstorm, bounce ideas. He's like, "What you up to, Zach?" And I'm like, "I'm writing a book."
I was like, writing a book.
Writing a book. So I've been writing a book for almost a year now. And it's literally got a book about my life. I probably won't publish it for another 10 years maybe. But it's going to be so authentic because it's going to be, the exact feeling I was feeling right now. It's hard to, go once I'm a millionaire to go back and realize how painful, how hard it was to move, into the hood and to have no friends and no family.
Hard to get back in that mindset.
But when I'm writing that book, I could write with passion. I wrote with this is hard, but this is all part of the journey. So you guys it's going to be a really awesome book, and it's going to be the best. It's going to be obviously the bestseller and shit whenever I publish it.
I'm excited about that, man. I'm actually about to start doing the same thing. I'm going to start, I think either Friday or Sunday, just journaling the past week, basically catching up what has happened, what are my feelings right now, and so forth. And what inspired me to do that was actually my mom has kept a journal basically since way before I was born, and she, once a week. She's been more active at times than others, and I went back and read that, man, and it's just crazy to be able to, especially if maybe when I'm 40 years old looking back and being able to put myself back into that state of mind to where I'm at right now and be able to relive it and so forth. Obviously it'll make for an awesome fucking book, but just personally it'll be really cool to go back. Yeah,
that's super cool that your mom does that too, man. It's almost like holding herself accountable. So here's another thing for you guys right now who are riding this high. You get the positive momentum going. Me and Jay talk about it. I feel so much positive momentum in my life right now. I'm just hyped. Write it down. Write down the exact way you feel, how your days are going. Whenever you guys do, because people are like, what happens when you fall out of motivation? And it might sound silly right now because you might think I'll never fall out of this, but you're going to. It's only a matter of time before you slip a little bit. Go back, you read how you felt this day. You read how you felt that day, how you hit a PR and the feeling that it gave you. I don't care if you video blog it takes 3 minutes, write it down, get that feeling in, and when you go back and read it, you're like, shit, that's going to light a fire back in you. It's like riding a bicycle. You're going to, you're going to know how to do it, and you're going to want it again.
Yeah, and I think writing stuff down, man, really clarifies and really clears things up in your life, and you're able to really think things through by just getting them on paper, and you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of, if you're trying to think, it
definitely keeps you self-aware, man.
Exactly,
for sure.
Very self-aware.
I'm super hard on myself being self-aware. Like, if I slip, I know it's like I think I out hustle everybody, even on my least hustlest days. Like, even when I'm just not hustling.
Corey talks about that all the time.
And even my bad days, I'm still out working people. And I don't think that's cockiness. I think that's confidence. Like, I'm serious.
Well, you put the work in to earn that.
Yeah, I'm not going to humble myself down for the guy who works 4 hours and thinks he's not work me. Like, no, fuck you. You know what I mean? You're an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that the similarity between the both of us and a lot of successful people. Like, we keep ourselves so accountable. Like, for me, for example, man, if I slip, I'm so hard on myself. Maybe a little bit too hard, but I think that's what's going to push me to be great. If I fuck up, if I slip, I'm harder on myself than I would ever be on anyone else, and I'll beat myself up so much. And sometimes it's like, man, this kind of sucks, but it pushes me to not fuck up like that again and so forth. I think that's going to drive me to become great, though.
Dude, I agree 100%. Like, I've been slipping on my Iron Valley Barbell page. I haven't been posted as much. I haven't been active on it because I've been getting my hands in so much other stuff. And I look today, I'm like, dude, yeah, I mean, I still might post almost probably every other day, but it's like, dude, it's not enough. It's not jump through people's timelines enough. I could be reposting way more. And I'm like fired up this morning. I want to post like 400 pictures, right? So I get all fired up. So obviously don't do that. You have to grow it organically. But yeah, definitely, it's good to be hard on yourself, but don't be too hard on yourself. Like, that's something I think, I've worked on too, is I was very hard on myself, but I always talk about short-term memory loss. So if you just constantly beat yourself down, there's enough people in the world beating you down.
Yeah.
You need to be around people, obviously, who's going to build you up, and you need to help build yourself up. And if you have no one around you to build you up, you better be your support system. And that's some real shit, because I have a lot of friends who are trying to get out of it, but their parents don't even support them. how can you chase your goal if your parents don't even support you? I know, Jay, you thought your parents thought you were crazy when you dropped out of school, right?
Yeah,
No,
they
it's
did.
hard. But you followed it up with actions. They're probably like, hey, Jay's doing really well now. You know what I mean? I'm glad he did it the way he did it. But if you have no support system, you better have a strong mind, a strong heart, a strong soul, and really be self-aware. Don't just go off a limb, and say, yeah, I want this, and you're not really all in. And next, you find yourself just laying on a couch half the day.
Yep, it's key.
Be self-aware. Know in your mind that you're ready for this, and it's going to be hard, but you're willing to, endure anything this world's going to throw at you.
And keeping perspective too. That's something I always try to work on, like with the whole beating myself down. Just trying to keep perspective really helps me with that as well.
For sure, it's all relative too. It's all about you. Some people might think that Jay, you work so freaking hard on your worst day, and really you're just like, dude, this is my worst day, and you guys think this is working hard. You know what I mean? So it really lets you know it's real relative. Like, hey, it's only really about. That's why I say win the day, win your own day.
Yep, bracing against yourself.
Jay, what is your no bitch assness tip of the show? Is it what you did this morning? What you do today?
I was hoping you were going to ask me that. No bitch assness tip of the show. This morning I hit some fucking chest and back, and I hit some incline bench. And one question I get very often is, how can I build my upper chest? A lot of people seem to lack upper chest, and I think it's just across the board. That's something a lot of people struggle with. So this is something Corey taught me a while back, and I've been doing ever since. When you do incline bench, which you should be doing I do at least once a week. Usually a lot of volume. Sometimes, like today, I did pyramid sets where I did some heavy work as well and some drop sets. But you want to keep a high touch point though, and what that means, a lot of people, I'll tell them that they don't really know what that means. So usually when you're doing incline bench, you'll bring it down to almost your nipple or a little bit above that. And where I want you to bring it down is like right below your collarbone. You don't want to smash your collarbone, but right on the pec, right below that. And if you look it up on YouTube or whatever, you'll be able to find some stuff. I got a video on mine. I'm sure Corey has some stuff. But
link it.
Yeah. I have just like a basic video right now, but I'll do one with talking and stuff. But yeah, so if you hit that high touch point, you're really going to build that upper chest. And I think Arnold was one of the original ones that actually started to make that popular. And so I was up last night. Speaking of not being able to sleep, thinking about your goals and stuff, I was up at like 12 something last night watching old school Arnold bodybuilding videos.
I know you were sending me a picture like, dude, I can't wait to get shredded because it's like 12:30. I mean, Jay, you've been up like 20 hours, bro. Like,
I was watching Arnold do some incline bench, and he was just doing that high touch point, and his upper chest is fucking jacked. So if it worked for Arnold, it's gonna work for you.
It's gonna work for about anybody, right? So I can follow up a little bit on that. When you're coming down, you touch that high point that you talked about. Definitely helps stretch that upper chest, pulls everything apart. That's going to give you guys, you ever see a dude with like a fucking barrel chest?
Mm-hmm.
That's the chest is going to give you and grow your upper chest. But another thing I see when guys push on incline, they push downwards, like towards their nipples after they maybe touch kind of high. They push towards their belly. Something I want you guys to think about, if your head is down, think about you want to hit yourself in the fucking chin, literally. So you have to literally lean your neck back. That's going to help bring that bar exactly where it's supposed to be. Because not only are you supposed to hit high, you're supposed to press high.
Yep.
So you do incorporate a lot of shoulders. If you're doing incline bench, let's really, really warm up those shoulders because everyone's like, I can't touch my chest because my shoulders are so tight. Shut up, faggot. You're not that big. Literally, like people just aren't that big. Like they act like they're Ronnie Coleman or something. I'm like, stretch. I'm so big on stretching. Which is going to throw me right into my no bitch assness. Tip of the show is stop neglecting mobility. It's driving me fucking nuts. Guys come to me for training, and I'm like, dude, I can't even work with you until you get mobile. I can't even put you in the right position to squat because you're so immobile. So how does that make you? And I'm real hard on it because guys want to see numbers and shit. So I'm so hard on like, literally right now, get used to being average because you're never, ever, ever going to break this plateau because you're always going to be out of position. Maybe you'll get 10 pounds here, you're going to get hurt. You have to work on mobility. And guys are like, so what do I do? Do I get a rogue band? I'm not hating on that because that stuff's good. I like to use it too. But you know what I do? Literally every single day I stretch. It's not for hours. I stretch for like 15 minutes. I wake up, I stretch a little bit, touch my toes, open my hips up, stretch my arms. It's just the daily habits, guys. It's part of my everyday non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable for me. I stretch every single day.
Do you do that before you, let's say you're squatting or hitting some core lifts? Do you do that before as well as in the morning or?
So I train usually around 2 o'clock. That's been my normal training time now. So in the morning when I wake up, I come to the gym and I might do some core work and stuff. I have a couple of clients I train first thing in the morning. I might do some light stretch. Like I'll wake up and stretch for like 5 minutes, 10
Okay.
minutes, whatever. Come to the gym. I might stretch a little bit while they're running sprints or whatever. I maybe stretch a little bit. And then I stretch a little bit before I work out. Don't overstretch before you work out. That's a good way to get hurt. And I stretch pretty good after.
Okay.
That's how my stretching and my quote unquote mobility works going. I think the word mobility work has everyone thinking they need a fucking tennis ball. Or,
yeah, they marketed the shit out of that. They've done a real good job selling the fuck out of some rogue balls.
They've done a great job on selling rogue balls and a great job in selling these voodoo bands and shit, which more power to them. I think the stuff does work because I do use it. I've done videos on using it. But
basic mobility.
Let's just be real, man. The cheerleaders, I think we talked about this before in the podcast.
Did, yeah.
Cheerleaders in high school, you never see them tying no fucking voodoo band around their forehead stretching, did you?
That's true.
So that's definitely something. I'm big on the basics, and that comes clear down to programming. Even though a lot of my programming is super authentic and like movements to guys, like, dude, I've never done this movement before. This is a cool movement, but it's all relative though. It becomes, it's the basics to me, and I don't do nothing like crazy out of the ordinary, like tie bands to the back of the rack and then to the front of the rack and then tie chains in another place. Like I don't do nothing crazy.
Basic
like that,
shit.
The basics, and I just don't neglect them. I'm hard on them every day. T-Coast Fitness. This is to me, has opening a gym affected your training in any way? When I first opened my gym, yes, back in early March, it was tough. I moved in. I had no one because I don't really know a lot of people here in Indianapolis at the time. I'd only been here about a year, so I really didn't accumulate a lot of I would quote unquote say great friends that I would expect to help move me into the gym and also expect to pay gym memberships. Knowing that, I'm very self-aware that, hey, if I'm going to have to owe these guys a favor, I better just do this shit myself. So I loaded probably 80 to 90% of the equipment myself and put it all together in a gym and transported it here by myself. Besides the shit that was literally just physically too big and awkward for me to move. So that took a toll on me, those few days. And then the few weeks after, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, having opened a startup. Startups are pretty nerve-wracking, especially in my situation. I know John Fosco and Corey talk about this, lacking capital going into a startup, which is huge. Everyone talks about this. Corey, Gary Vee talks about it also. A lot of people don't realize what it costs to have a startup business. And I did not have the capital for a startup business. I didn't have enough. I talked about it a little bit yesterday on Activate Daily.
And Lunch and Learn, I think so too, yeah.
Yes. But I backed it up with a fucking 110% hustle. You weren't going to out hustle me. I was willing to stay awake for 4 months to get this gym running. And that's what I did. I worked hard. I pushed hard on social media. I pushed hard around town. And even though I was lacking capital, I made up for it in hustle. Now, that's not going to work for everybody. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody. Having built up a little bit of a reputation, that's helped me a lot. Get a lot of day passes. A lot of people come here from out of town. I've had people drive 12, 14 hours to come train at the Iron Valley. Awesome, super humbling, to come train with me. So I have had that luxury of, the $10 day passes do add up. But within a week, we had enough members to we broke profit in 4 days. And then
Crazy.
in a week, we had enough members to cover the bills. It was really cool. It was such a cool experience, and to see, if you build it, they will come. And it's true,
It's so true.
Built this fucking hardcore gym that's 130 degrees and not one guy bitches. Or he's like, I love it here.
Lead by example.
We had a utility fan on yesterday. We had to turn it off. It just got too cold. It was only 105 in here, so we had to turn it off.
Wasn't hot enough.
Oh, yeah. So, it affected my training a little bit, as I started, but I bounced back. I knew it was going to. I prepped myself going into opening up the gym. I said, hey, this is probably going to affect my training a little bit, but I'll be good. That's why I haven't competed yet this year. I competed 8 times last year. I haven't competed once yet this year.
Really? 8 times last year?
Yeah, I was busy.
Yeah,
I competed twice in a month. Just 1 month, I competed twice in 1 month. It was I think it was week to week, actually. It was at Nick Showman's place for IPA, and I followed with Corey's meet at Old School Gym, and I squatted 700 both times. I went through this span for 8 weeks. I squatted 700 for 8 weeks.
It's fucking unreal.
And dude, guys, this is at 180. I was keeping my body weight around 180, 185. Because I was competing so much. That comes down to when I teach people to lift, I teach you how to lift for longevity. You're gonna lift for a long time and be healthy. If I'm able to lift, 700, 8 weeks in a row, I'm pretty healthy. That's something I really. The worst kind of injury I guess I've had was I slightly tore my glute squatting 585 after I'd get out of the car for driving 3 hours to old school gym. Me and Corey squat. I slightly tore my glute, and then I deadlifted 700 the day later, which is kind of dumb. But I told people I was going to do it, so there's no way I was
You
going to
did
get.
it. I remember that. I didn't know you had torn your glute though.
Yeah, it was like my shit was black and blue, man. It was clear up into my
Speaking
tank.
of
It was not
powerlifting,
good.
bro, I'm getting hype to do the old school meet in December. Coming off of this shoot in September, I'm gonna start working with Zach. He's gonna help me with my program. I'll pick his brain basically the whole flight out to LA and the whole flight back, and time we're there on programming and such. Because obviously I don't have a whole lot of experience programming strength stuff, but he's gonna help me with that, and I'm gonna dial the fucking with the strength stuff, and then go into that meet in December with some big goals, and I'm excited about it. I haven't really been in like
What
a
are your
straight
goals?
powerlifting. Yeah, so
What's your body weight going to be at, and what's your numbers?
yeah, that's what I got to figure out. What's the 160 class? It's like 160,
65.
165. I could potentially make 165. I really dehydrated. I'll probably come off the shoot and hang around 170 to 172. So it probably wouldn't be that hard to get to that weight. So that's probably what I'm gonna go for. I'd like to deadlift at least 500 pounds. I haven't pulled 500 in at least a year and a half. So I think with a couple of cues that you're gonna help me with and get the form dialed in, and then obviously, like we talked about yesterday, I've been drilling some posterior chain and some hamstring and glute work, and I think that's going to make a huge difference. Like I'm really lacking in my hamstrings. Zach pointed that out, and opened my eyes up to that yesterday with the glute ham machine. And yeah, in squats, I would like to hit at least 450. It's been a while. It's probably been a year since I've hit 450. And bench, who knows, man? That's a wild west for me. I need some work on the bench, but I'm just excited to get back into it.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome, man. And just changing a few things. I start working with guys like I touch up here, guys who do work with me. If anyone's following, they already know. You could see almost instant results just from changing a few things. For Jay's instance, him having weak, thought he had strong hamstrings. I pointed him out; they're actually weak. His deadlift will jump up 30, 40 pounds within a month. That should be no problem. I'll get his leverages right. Get him in the right position, double up on his GHD work, and he'll be strong as shit. I think 500 is an understatement. We better look for 550, 600.
Yeah, bull. I mean,
That's
I
my
pulled
opinion.
500 like a year and a half ago, and I wasn't training nearly as much as I am now and hitting a lot of posterior chain work and so forth and accessory work. So I think it's all just leverages and stuff. So I think once you get me dialed in, man, shit's gonna fly up.
Sky's the limit, man. It's always we talk about all the time raising your expectations. Whenever I wanted to squat 600, I was really thinking 700 in my mind because that 600 is going to be a barrier for
Yep.
you. So
Yeah,
just
I'm gonna be a
always keep it.
poster boy for Zach Hummel power.
You're
My
fucking
shit,
right. You're going to
my
be
shit's
strong
gonna
as
be
shit.
yeah, my shit's gonna be dialed in. I'm hyped.
Dude, next weekend I have the photo shoot coming up. I talked to you guys a little bit about it. I'm still sitting about 190, 195-ish, but a lot leaner. I'm shedding a lot of fat. So what we're doing is working. We'll do a water cut still. We'll probably get down into 180s.
Oh yeah.
Probably not as low as we thought we were going to just because it's been good. I've been shedding fat and keeping my muscle, so I'm looking pretty good.
Yeah, we
Jay
don't want
got
you to
me
get you like we've talked about before. You're not trying to get bodybuilding lean. You know where your
Yeah.
niche is, and you want to be able to pull some crazy weight and lift some crazy weight to get some pictures too. So that's not the goal
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah, we're just going to have a six pack and have some veins popping out of our stomach and look halfway shreds.
Yeah, and
It's
the peak
gonna
week,
be
man.
good though.
The peak week's going to be huge. That's always where you really drop all the water out and you start to lose a little bit more fat. But the water's huge. Just cutting the water out, you look so much leaner. And then I always get a tan before the shoot.
For
But yeah,
sure.
peak week's huge with the water cut and then cutting out a lot of carbs and dropping some more fat. Like you said, we'll probably get you down to the low 180s and you'll look completely different. For me, I usually lose at least 7, 8, sometimes 9 pounds the last week. So the last week's the most crucial in my mind.
Dude, it's going to be freaking awesome. So Jay's actually coming out to the Iron Valley for the shoot. It's really cool. We have something really cool going on. So we're actually going to do a photo shoot. I'll be doing the photo shoot, but we'll also be filming content for the Young and Hungry FireCast during the photo shoot. So it's going to be really authentic and kind of something I've never seen nobody do. So it'd be really
It's gonna
fun
be
to
sick.
do.
I'm hyped. I haven't been to the Iron Valley yet either, so I'm super stoked
Oh,
about that.
hey, when you walk in that door, you better fucking raise your expectations.
I'll
I
be
want
fucking hyped,
500
bro.
when you walk in the
I'm gonna
door.
come ready.
Jay, here's something cool. Jay Manz, MANZ 80. How many hours of sleep per night does a person need to get for adequate rest after a tough workout?
Oh man, that varies greatly on so many different things. I've spoken about before. Everyone's different. You got to be very self-aware and know what kind of range of sleep that you need to be optimal. But then it depends on your schedule. If you got a full-time job, you got a family, and you got all kinds of crazy shit going on, but yet you're not happy with your job and you want to start a business, then you're going to have to sacrifice some sleep. Maybe you're a person that needs 6 to 8 hours to be optimal. You're going to have to cut that down. Maybe get 3-4 hours max just because you got so much shit going on. But I think it is good to be self-aware because some people can naturally function on 3-4 hours of sleep and be mentally optimal, whereas other people maybe need 6-7 because the body varies so much. Like we talked about before with the diet, everyone's different. Everyone needs different carb levels. Everyone needs different types of food. So you have to be very self-aware and know what your body and specific needs because it's just the human body is just so much different in general, and everyone reacts different to different stimuli. So self-awareness is key, and then also just depends on your schedule and what you want to do and what you want to achieve, in my mind.
Definitely. I think it all boils down to just kind of like I'm just gonna basically say what you just said. It comes down to how hard your job is. Do you have a physical labor job? Do you have a family? Where's your CNS at? Is your job straining and you're straining yourself at the gym and you have stress of kids and a wife? If so, you're probably gonna need a little bit more sleep for adequate quote unquote rest. Me personally, if I just wanted to maybe branch off this and take it your own way. For me to get adequate rest, quote unquote, I need 6 to 8 hours. I perform my level at the gym is the highest. So when the fitness industry says, you need to rest, I kind of understand it because when I am powerlifting, my CNS is shot. It feels really good when I get that much sleep. But I have a greater goal. There's so many more things I want to accomplish. So I don't, this is probably the only time I'm going to use the word can't because I just cut out my vocabulary, but I cannot sleep more than 4 to 6 hours a night. Mm-hmm. 90% of the time, 90% of my year, because I have too many goals. I have too many things I'm trying to accomplish, and I cannot do it in anything less than 18 hours, 16, 18-hour grind every single day. And let me just touch on this real quick. I'm not telling everyone they need to work 18 hours a day to be successful, because I know a lot of people who are successful who don't. But I'm self-aware, and I know I'm not the brightest bulb. And I know it might take me 4. It might only take you 2 hours to write something. It might take me 4. But guess what? In the long run, you're not going to beat me because you're going to get tired writing for 2 hours. I'm not going to get tired for writing for 4 hours. I'm only going to get it better. So I'm very self-aware, and I know I might apply more time, more effort, and I'm almost playing like a catch-up game the way I look at it. Like the fitness industry is evolving. I think it's still growing, but maybe 10 years ago, I could have been all right, pulling an 8-hour day because I've been ahead of the game on YouTube and different things, to where now I'm playing catch-up. Like it's a rat race. Everybody wants to be at the top. So it's just being
Fitness industry's flooded as well.
It is flooded, and it's just like, but real recognize real. That's a lot of people reach out and they, dude, you're like one of the realest dudes in the industry. You just keep it 100, you keep it straight, and that's the truth. With our whole Midwest, who says that? Scott Lim, is that who says it all the time on Twitter?
I think it's Scott.
It says the Midwest Muscle Crew.
That's definitely Scott.
I'm hashtagging it. I love that shit, brother. That's awesome. So, I think our whole crew keeps it, we keep it real. It's like all our content's real. It's like we're not faking who we are. And you see these guys providing this content like on Instagram or Snapchat, if they're talking for 30 seconds or talking for a minute. I'm telling you right now, we film content, right? There's bloopers, there's things that happen. So when they're talking all crisp and they've rehearsed this shit, man. Mm-hmm. That's not really them talking genuine to you guys. If you want to hear real genuine people speak, go actually meet them in person. See if they actually want to shake your hand, take the time out of their day to help better you. Because a lot of people talk about they want to help better the world until you actually meet them in real life, and they're just like a total dickhead or total asshole. So real recognize real.
Love it.
Back on the sleep thing, I can't get 10 hours, 8 to 10, 6 to 8, 6 to 10, whatever I need for my most optimal rest. Going into a meet or a strongman event or something, I probably will try to sleep that much. I'll force myself maybe for 3 days to sleep that long. But that's what I would say, man. I would try to shoot for 6 to 8, depending on your greater goal, though. The human body runs really good off 6. I've seen it with all the guys I train and stuff. Everyone does about 6 hours, and all still seeing progress. So I'd say 6 to 8.
Yep, self-awareness is key. So many aspects of life, right?
Knowing where you stand, man. Just knowing where you stand in life. People lie to themselves. I hate hearing the thing, I got some big things coming. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about your big things. Show me. Quit telling me you got big things coming. Or quit telling me that, dude, I got this really great idea. I hear this all the time. I got a really great idea, Zach. Everybody does. I have really great ideas, too. How many people invented Uber? Gary talks about it.
So many people, right? They claim to.
Yeah, it's just so many different things.
Action.
That's all that matters, because everyone has great ideas, but less than 0.5% actually willing to apply all the actions to capitalize on them. And once you do, if you are even willing to apply all the actions, you still might not have the DNA or even, the know-how or the references to actually make it happen, bring it to life. So it's almost like, there's a little bit of, luck involved in making it. I think, you got to run into the right people. But just like I said before, you can almost dictate your luck by putting yourself in the right position.
Yeah,
It's like the guy
you
gets
got to be
rebounds.
prepared. Opportunities will present themselves to you. I always say this: opportunities will be presented to you throughout your life, but you got to be prepared to capitalize on them when they do. So you got to put the work in. So when the shit comes to you, you're ready to take it.
Have you always known, Jay, whenever an opportunity was in front of you, or is there times where you dropped the ball, whether it be real estate, have you seen, or have you just, for what you know, have you seen opportunities in front of you and maybe not even tried to chase them, or
Uh,
have you always just known?
Potentially some small, maybe in like real estate, just because that's not really my passion. But I would say for the most part, I've pretty much capitalized on all the big opportunities with Corey and with Muscle Farm and so forth. I feel like I've done a really good job of capitalizing on the opportunities and just being aware. I think that's another thing. People sometimes are so closed-minded or whatever that they don't even see the opportunities right in front of their face. So I feel like I've been very self-aware and I've been able to recognize opportunities and for the most part take advantage of them to the fullest.
Now, coming with that, taking opportunities, I think something we should cover real quick is, if you want to take those opportunities, sacrifice. For instance, let me brag about Jay for a minute. He's talking about how great of a trader I am. So let me talk about how much of a hustler he is. Corey talks about it, the dude going to college, working for Muscle Farm, and then also working another job at night, right? You had like 2 jobs and went to school full time.
When I was going full time, to school in the morning. So class was like 7 to 11, or sometimes 7 to 1, and then Muscle Farm was full time. So and it was 45 minutes away. So it was like I would get up early in the morning and I would work out a couple of times a week when I was preparing for my shoot. And then I would go to class from 7 to 11 or 7 to 1, and then I would come home, grab lunch real quick, hop in my car, drive 45 minutes to Muscle Farm. This is another thing. I'm real big on being early, which I know Zach is as well. I get to work early. I think I was supposed to start at 1 o'clock every day. I'd be there at the latest at 12:15 every day. Get there at 12:15. I'd be there until 9 or a little bit longer. I'd get off. I'd leave at 9. It took me 45 minutes to get home. I'd get home about 9:45 or 10. When I got home, I worked social media at Muscle Farm and customer service. When I got home, I had a bunch of emails and social media DMs and mentions. So I'd have to respond to those. I'd have to respond to the emails. When I was prepping for my shoot, I would hit my nightly abs, so I wouldn't get to bed until 11:30, and then I'd get up the next morning real early. And basically, like I had no life, but that was what I wanted to do because I had that vision. I knew taking that opportunity at Muscle Farm was going to continue to expand my relationship with Corey, which was going to benefit me down the road. And it was good money at the time as well, but that really wasn't the point. It was more so the vision. But yeah, man, what you got to do, right?
Yeah. So basically, the opportunity, arose, you had the chance and you had to sacrifice for it. A lot of times guys have the opportunities and they're not willing to sacrifice. And that's what I was trying to hint at. Are you really willing to sacrifice for it?
Absolutely. I remember when Corey asked me, he's like, I know you're real busy with school. I think because I started out part-time at Muscle Farm at the office. I was working like 5 to 9 every night. And Corey's like, we got a full-time position opening up. He's like, I know you're real busy with school. He's like, would you want to take it? And I didn't fucking second guess. I was like, hell yeah. I mean, I don't have any other option, right? I'm going to take it. Hell yeah, I'm going to take the full-time job and I'll figure it out.
Dude, and that just comes down to the same thing. When I took the sacrifice to move out here, if anyone you talk to who's successful, they have to be willing to sacrifice and take chances. In the role, the life we live, if you're trying to pursue kind of the same entrepreneurship role as Jay and I are going, it's really gray. You don't know if you're really going to make it. But let me tell you this, guys. There's always going to be an $18 an hour job to fall back on.
Yeah.
So go ahead and chase it. If you're super passionate about it, chase your dreams. Go out there and do whatever it takes. Make sacrifices. And I understand some people have families and different things, and that all comes down with strategy.
I was going to say, especially if you're young, a lot of the guys listening young, take the opportunity while you're young. And if that's what you think you want to do and you want to start business, experiment while you're young, man, before you get a family, before you have kids or whatever, and a lot of expenses and bills to pay.
Yeah, for sure. And if you don't have very many expenses, like if you say you are paying a car payment right now on a cell phone, but okay, trade your car in for a cheaper car if the payment's too much. Like, get your bills down to where you basically have nothing. Like, it's just like, I room with 3 people. It's only $200, $300 a month. My car payment's $75 or $150 a month. I need this much. Hey, if you all need diet, we'll talk about it one day. If you still want to eat somewhat healthy for cheap, it can be less than $50 a week. It's a bunch of fucking tuna packets. You know what I mean? There's ways to make it happen, guys. So quit making excuses. If we live in America, Gary Vee talks about a time when we wasn't born an elephant. You know, you're actually born
or a tree
citizen.
or whatever.
Yeah, a tree. Like so many things have played. You live in America. It's such a great opportunity. And basically, it comes down to like if you're not doing or achieving your goals, or it's on you, bro. You're the reason. You can point fingers to everyone you want, but at the end of the day, it all reflects back on you. You need to start holding yourself accountable. Because if you want to chase them, it's on you.
Boom, knowledge bomb. All right, man. Let's wrap this bitch up. Hour and 15 minutes long. We're basically keeping it in the middle. I like everything we touched on here. Let's leave them with some parting shots. Zach, what you got?
Dude, go ahead and check me out, Zach Homol Power on the Snapchat. If you guys are on Snapchat and you like my content, click on my name. There's a blue arrow on the right side if you click on my name. And go ahead and send it through your Snapchat list to everybody on Snapchat and say, yo, check out Zach. Maybe put on your story or something, or just go click through. You got to go through everybody. Click, say, check out Zach. He provides awesome content, tons of motivation. Find me on Instagram, Zach Homol Power. It's all the same. YouTube. We've been blasting out YouTube content. Actually, my content manager, Joey.
What up, Joey?
We got content to film today. We're back on the grind. How about you, Jay? Where can I find you?
Love it. Snapchat is JAY_Azeltine. Same thing Zach said. If you like my content, feel free to share it and send it out to everyone. I would appreciate that. Instagram, Twitter is JAY_Azeltine as well. YouTube, you just search my name. Email, if you ever have any questions you want to get direct at me, JAY_Azeltine, AZELTINE, fitness@gmail.com. And one thing I wanted to leave them with as well was kind of follow up on something we talked about was get a notebook, start journaling at least once a week, and start writing out some of your aspirations, some of your goals, and maybe start recapping the past week and just getting your thoughts into paper. And I think that'll really help clarify some things if your vision's kind of cloudy and you're trying to figure out what you want to do.
Word. Shout out to Jay's mom for leading by example.
Love
Boom.
That. I love it. All right, that was episode 5. We appreciate everybody listening in, watching on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the page. We're going to be coming out with some fire content soon. I'm headed to the Valley next week to shoot some film. And if you're on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. If you enjoy the show, subscribe as well. And stay young, stay hungry.
Stay young, stay hungry. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. If you don't like our content, well, you're probably deaf. Keep it moving. Have a good day, guys. I'll talk to y'all
later.